In this lesson, we're going to have a look at some more challenging integrations by substitution with trig substitutions. So the example we'll get straight on with, and you'll see why this is different to what we've been looking at in the past. And here's the question here. So evaluate exactly the following integral. So it's the integral between 1 and 0 of root of 1 minus x squared, using the substitution x equals cos theta. So the first thing to notice that's different about this type of question is that we're not letting u equal something anymore. We're going straight in and letting the variable in the integral equal something. So this would say, in a previous example, let u equal, but this time it says let x equal cos theta. That's one thing that's different. So let's have a look at how to deal with that. So we've been given the substitution x equal cos theta. Rather than finding d theta by dx, what we're going to find here is dx by d theta. So dx by d theta equals, and you might want to pause it and have a go yourself. So dx by d theta here equals, so the differential of cos theta is minus sine theta, like that, which means that dx equals minus sine theta d theta. So when it's in the form like this, where we let x equal something, the rearrangement here is much easier. It's much easier. It's just one step to get it to say dx equals. So now let's try and get everything in terms of theta. But remember, you're going to have to change the limits. So see if you can change the limits based on our substitution. You might want to pause and have a go at that, but I'll do it now. So when x equals 1, that means that 1 equals cos of theta. Well, if 1 equals cos of theta, that means theta must equal 0. X equals 0 implies that 0 equals cos theta, which means that theta must equal, in this case, so when cos theta equals 0, theta equals pi over 2. So you can verify those using your calculator if you want. So we've got our new limits for theta. So now let's try and write the whole integral in terms of theta. So it becomes the integral, and the upper limit now is 0, and the lower limit is pi over 2. Again, something strange has happened. We've always been used to the highest number being on the top and the lowest number on the bottom, but that's not the case here. But we must make sure that the limit that corresponds to 1, i.e. 0, goes on the top, and the limit that corresponds to 0, i.e. pi over 2, goes on the bottom. So now we've got root of 1 minus, and the substitution was x equal cos theta, so 1 minus cos squared theta, and instead of dx now, it's minus sine theta d theta, like that, equals. Okay, so now let's try and simplify this. So equals the integral between 0 and pi over 2 of, well, 1 minus cos squared theta from trig identities is sine squared theta. So that's the integral between 0 and pi over 2 of the root of sine squared theta times minus sine theta d theta, and root of sine squared theta is just sine theta. So that becomes the integral between 0 and pi over 2 of minus sine squared theta d theta. So this is sine theta times minus sine theta makes minus sine squared theta d theta. And an interesting thing can happen here. So notice that this is negative sine squared theta. If I swap the limits top and bottom, it means I do the limit subtraction in the opposite order, i.e. getting the negative of what the answer would have been had I not swapped them. So if I sub that in and take away this having been subbed in, I get one answer. If I do the subtraction in the opposite order, that'll give me the negative of that answer. So if I want to, I can swap these limits around, pi over 2 and 0 of sine squared theta d theta. Swapping the top and bottom limits makes the function negative. And there I have it, the integral between pi over 2 and 0 of sine squared theta d theta is what it's been reduced to. So that's still not 100% done, because sine squared theta has a special method for integrating, which we covered a few lessons ago in the further integration section. So remember, to integrate sine squared of theta, what we need to do is expand cos of 2 theta, which we know is identical to 1 minus 2 sine squared theta, leaving 2 sine squared theta equals 1 minus cos of 2 theta, which then becomes sine squared theta equals 1/2 minus 1/2 cos of 2 theta, just like that. Okay, so now our integral becomes the integral between pi over 2 and 0, and instead of sine squared theta we've got 1/2 minus 1/2 cos of 2 theta d theta, and we're ready to do the integral. So a half integrates to a half theta, and a half cos 2 theta becomes a quarter of sine 2 theta between pi over 2 and 0. Then put the limits in. So 1/2 of pi over 2, take away a quarter sine of 2 lots of pi over 2, take 1/2 of 0 minus 1/4 of sine of 2 lots of 0 equals, well, sine of pi is 0, sine of 0 is 0, that there is 0, just leaving us with pi over 4 as the answer. So let's check that on the calculator now. Let's go back up to the original integral. So the integral between 1 and 0 of square root of 1 minus x squared. It's taking a little while, and the calculator gives us that. If I take my answer, pi over 4, hopefully I should get 0. So it doesn't give exactly 0, but that's because of rounding errors on the calculator. So when it does the integration, it introduces rounding errors, but I've got the tiniest of numbers, which is approximately 0, which gives me comfort that my answer is correct. But it hasn't given me exactly 0 because of, as I say, of the error introduced when calculating the integrals. So I'm confident that that answer is correct, as should you be if you do this in an exam. So let's just dissect what we've done here. So the key with any of these trig substitutions is knowing your trig identities. This one was a particularly easy one to look at and to recall, but actually you need to know your sec, your cosec trig identities and everything like that, because there will always, in these trig substitutions, be some sort of trick with identities. And now let's just look at one more example. And this one here really is what I would call a top-end example, one of the hardest types of substitution questions you can get. So it says, using the substitution x equals 2 sine u, perform the following integral, simplifying fully your answer, i.e. give in a form that does not involve nested trig functions. And there's the integral of 4 minus x squared. Now this comment here is quite important, but we won't really know what it means until we have done the integral. So let's go for it. So the question has asked us to let x equal 2 sine u. So let's do that. Let x equal 2 sine u. Which means that, in this case, we're not going to find du by dx. It says x equals, so we're going to find dx by du in this case. Which is equal to 2 cos u. Nice and straightforward. So that means that dx is equal to 2 cos u du, like that. So now, doing the integral, replacing everything we can in the integral there, we've got the integral of the square root of 4 minus, so x is 2 sine u, so x squared must be 4 sine squared u. And instead of dx, we're going to write 2 cos u du, like that. So we've got that so far. And taking out a factor of 4 from what's under the root sign, we end up with this here, 4 lots of 1 minus sine squared u. And the fact that this trig identity has appeared here, 1 minus sine squared u, you should be familiar with that. That is the reason we chose the substitution x equal 2 sine u, so that would happen. Times 2 cos u du. And that is equal to the integral of the square root of 4. And we know that 1 minus sine squared u is equal to cos squared u, like that, times 2 cos u du. And we'll keep going with this. The square root of 4 cos u, or 4 cos squared u rather, is 2 cos u, times, again, 2 cos u du, we're getting somewhere with this, equals the integral of 4 cos squared u du, like that there. So now we've got this into a doable integral. You might want to pause the video here and try and go with this yourself, or keep watching. So whenever we're asked to integrate cos squared u or sine squared u, what we would always do is expand the double angle formula for cos. So cos of 2u is equal to, and I need it in terms of cos, so 2 cos squared u minus 1. Let's rearrange that and take the thing we can't integrate, the cos squared u, and turn it into something exactly equivalent using trig identities. So here, I can see that cos of 2u plus 1 equals 2 cos squared u. Now if I double that, both sides, 2 cos 2u plus 2 equals 4 cos squared u. I've taken something I can't integrate, the 4 cos squared u, and turned it into something identical that I can integrate. So now, this becomes the integral of 2 cos of 2u plus 2 du. And if we do that, we end up with no more integral signs anymore. We're ready to perform the integral. So the integral of cos is sine. So the integral of cos of 2u is a half sine of 2u. So that becomes 2 sine 2u over 2 plus 2u. Then we have a plus c equals sine of 2u plus 2u plus c. So there's the integral done. We now need to make it in terms of x, the original variable, and this is the more difficult part. So if we look back up at our substitution, we see that x is 2 sine u. So let's use that. So x is 2 sine u, which means that x over 2 is equal to sine u, which means that u is the inverse sine, also known as arc sine, of x over 2, like that. So what I'm about to do in red here, I'm about to do this the wrong way. So if I now substitute that u back into our expression in terms of u, I get sine of 2 lots of arc sine x over 2 plus 2 arc sine x over 2 plus c. So that there certainly is a correct solution to the original integral, but we have a look back up at the question. It's not correct enough to get all the marks. Simplify fully your answer, i.e. given a form that does not involve nested trig functions, i.e. trig functions within one another. And we can see that is the case here. So this is a correct answer, but not correct enough to get all the marks. Let's go through how you would get all the marks in this one. So what we see there, we've got sine of 2u. So I would continue by saying equals, and I'm going to expand sine of 2u to 2 sine u cos u plus 2u plus c. And what we're about to do here is the clever part. So the substitution was x equals sine of 2u. I'm going to draw a right angle triangle now and use SOHCAHTOA. So sine u here we got was x over 2. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse. So sine u is x over 2. X over 2. Just making it clear that this is the angle here, u, that I'm talking about. So I can now find the third side here by simply using Pythagoras. That's the root of 2 squared minus x squared. And now we have it. Now we have enough to be able to go back into this and replace the sine u and the cos u with expressions in just x, not involving further trig functions. So I know that sine u there was x over 2. So equals 2. And I can replace the sine u with x over 2. That was our substitution. But cos u, we can see here that cos u is adjacent over hypotenuse, SOHCAHTOA, adjacent over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, root of 4 minus x squared, the adjacent, over the hypotenuse, plus 2 lots of arcsine, and it was arcsine x over 2 was u, plus c. And let's simplify that a bit more. Equals, well, 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So I get x over 2 root of 4 minus x squared plus 2 arcsine of x over 2 plus c. And that's it done. So that there is quite an advanced idea. It's possible, but unlikely that something as difficult as this would come up in an exam. So we've covered the ground. There are some questions like this on the worksheet to have a go with, so do have a go at them. But basically, when we get to the end of one of these questions and we've got trig functions to replace, we should use trig identities. This is one idea that might work. The ordinary trig identities might help you. There are loads of different ways of replacing these. You've just got to think your way around it. So have a go at the worksheet and check every answer as you go.